Dear student, welcome back again in our today's session. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about on the concept snowball sampling. In my previous lecture, I have already discussed about the concept of sampling and the types of sampling. And in this present lecture, I am going to discuss in detail about the snowball sampling. In this lecture, we will understand what is snowball sampling and what are the merits and demerits of snowball sampling. So, without further ado, let's start our today's topic. So, first, we will understand the concept of snowball sampling. In snowball sampling, the process starts by identifying a few individuals who fit the study's criteria. That means known as seeds or initial participants. And these participants are taken as to refer others they know who meet the same criteria. And the new participants in turn refer the more people and the sample grows like a snowball rolling downhill, hence the name is snowball sampling. So basically we talk about the concept of snowball sampling. So it is a non-probability sampling technique where participants recruit other participants from their social network, making it particularly useful for studying population that are difficult to access. The process being by selecting a small group of initial participants who are they asked to refer other they know, and this continues like a snowball rolling and gaining the size. This method is ideal for research or marginalized groups or pupils involved in a sensitive activity such as a drug users, refugees, or individuals with the rare medical conditions. So, in this way, we can select the sample with the help of snowball sampling. Basically, snowball sampling starts with a few individuals who meet the study's criteria, and these seeds or initial participants are very essential because they set the foundation for the entire sampling process. The researcher typically select these individuals based on their characteristics, accessibility, or knowledge about the research subject. Once these individuals are selected, they are asked to refer the other who fit the study criteria and the process continues. This method is especially useful in a cases where the participants are part of hidden or elusive population and researchers do not have the access to a formal list of potential participants. For example, in a study about the workers based on the gender or undocumented immigrants, the researcher may find it impossible to identify and approach these individuals without the help of personal referrals. So each and new participants become the part of the snowball and the referral chain, contributing to the growth of the sample. This creates a snowball effect where more and more participants are recruited through the personal connections. And the researchers may ask each participant to refer the several new people, thus increasing the sample size. However, it is important to note that this process relies on the willingness of the participants to provide the referrals and their social networks. If the participants have a few social ties or unwilling to refer other, the snowball may stop the rolling, leading to a smaller sample. And snowball sampling basically is a highly effective for the research involving a hidden or hard to reach population. These are group of people who may not be easily accessible through the traditional methods such as a random sampling because they may prefer to remain anonymous or are difficult to locate. For instance, people involved in illegal activities or members of segmented communities may be participate in a research unless they are referred by someone they trust. So snowball sampling basically are social connections and trust within the communities and gain to access the individuals who would otherwise be unreachable. And it compared to the more systematic approach like stratified or cluster sampling. Snowball sampling is a relatively time efficient and some participants themselves help in the recruitment process by referring the others person. So the researcher can save the considerable time and efforts. This is especially helpful in a large geographical areas or when working with a population that are not easily accessible instead of expending the resources trying to identify potential participants. So the researcher relies on a chain of a referral which can move to the more cost effective. So in simple terms, we can say that about the snowball sampling. Basically, the new participants in a turn refer to the more people and the sample grows like a snowball rolling downhill as I have discussed earlier. So this is also known as a snowball sampling. This sampling method is often used in a studies where a complete list of a population is not available. You can use the snowball sampling and a target group is small, hidden, or difficult to access, like drug users, refugees, or people with a rare and medical conditions. And अगर हम बात करें snowball sampling की, so we can use a snowball sampling in a traditional sampling methods are not feasible due to the population nature. So you can use the snowball sampling method for the sample. Now, after discussing about the concept of snowball sampling, now next we are going to discuss about the merits. So basically, if we talk about the merits of snowball sampling, as you can see that the first one is access to hidden population. Snowball sampling is a particularly useful for the reaching the population that are hard to access through the traditional methods. For example, in a studies of illicit activities such as a drug use and sex workers, individuals may not openly identify themselves, but they can be reached through the referral from the other participants. In simple way, we can say that snowball sampling is the greatest strength lies in its ability to reach population that are otherwise inaccessible since participants are recruited through the personal networks. Trust and referrals are established more quickly. For example, in a study of drug users, it might be impossible for our researchers to contact the potential participants directly. However, our current participants may know other in the same group and vouch for the researchers, helping build trust and increase the participation. Now, next one is cost effective. This method requires fewer resources as compared to the other method like a random method and stratified sampling and a cluster sampling, etc. Once the researchers have identified the initial participant, the subsequent recruitment process relies on the referral of those participants. So this can be significantly count down on the cost associated with the participants' identification, recruitment and outreach. The participants themselves perform a portion of the work finding a new participants and reducing the researchers' direct involvement in the recruitment phase. Now, the third one is network-based research. So basically, we talk about the network-based research. That means snowball sampling is a particularly suited to the research that focus on a social networks or groups with a strong internal connections. When studying how the individuals within a community interact, snowball sampling can provide a valuable insight. For example, research on activist groups or religious communities may be a benefit from this method as participants social on the social ties reveal a network structure and relationship within the community. The sample growth reflects the real world social dynamic and exit the between individuals in the population. So in simple terms, we can say that about the snowball sampling. So snowball sampling is a well suited for the research that focuses on a social network or communities where members are connected to the another. It allows researchers to examine how the networks are structured and how people within the network interact with each other as the sampling grows through the reference. Now, the next one is convenient for small population. In case where the population is very small or where participants are geographically dispersed, snowball sampling is an effective method to accumulate a researchable sample size by using the social links between the participants. In simple terms, we can understand that in case where the population is small or a widely dispersed, geographical snowball sampling can make the data collection more efficient. For example, in studies involving people with a rare disease, snowball sampling can help the researchers to gather the participants by evolving the social connections between those who share the similar experiences. And this can be especially useful when the participants are spread across a large geographical areas and are not easily accessible through the traditional methods. So these are the merits of snowball sample techniques. And after discussing about the merits of snowball techniques, next we are going to discuss about the demerits. Here, as you can see that we have mentioned a few demerits. So first one is sampling bias. Snowball sampling is a prone to bias because the initial participants and their referrals might not be a representative of the entire population. For example, if the first few participants belong to a particular subgroup to have a similar characteristics, they are likely to refer other like them. This creates a biasness and the bias samples that may reflect the diversity of the entire population. So we can see that the snowball sampling tends to suffer from the sampling biasness sampling errors because the participants are recruited through the exiting networks which may not represent the population as a whole. The sample may become the concentrated around the specific subgroups, leading to an over presentation of certain characteristics while underrepresenting the others. For example, if the initial participants are all belong to a particular social or economic group, they are likely to refer other with a similar background. This creates a skewed sample, and this lack of diversity in the sample can lead to a biased result and limit the validity and reliability of the study's finding. Now, the second one is limited generalization. Because of snowball sampling does not use a random selection, it is difficult to generalize the population, generalize the sample size, and the findings to the broader population. The sample may reflect only the views of experiences of a specific network, and there is no way to know if the same results would apply to the entire population. For instance, in a study of homeless individuals, snowball sampling might only capture the experiences of a specific subgroup, such as those living in a shelter, while missing others, such as those living on the streets or in the temporary housing. This makes it challenging to draw broad conclusions, broad findings about the population as a whole. Now, the next one is dependence on participants' willingness. As, uh, as we can understand about the dependence of participants' willingness, so snowball sampling is a dependent on the willingness of the participants to refer the others. If participants are not agree or refuse to provide the referrals, so the sample size may remain as small and the researcher may struggle to reach out to a sufficient number of participants. Additionally, some participants may be hesitate to share the contact information of the people they know due to the privacy concern or mistrust, further the limiting the sample size and the diversity. Now, the last one is homogeneity in the sample. So basically, if we talk about the homogeneity in the sample, so one of the most risky work of snowball sampling is the possibility of homogeneity in the sample. Since participants are recruited from the within the same social circles, they are often similar in terms of characteristics like age, socioeconomic status, education level, or cultural background. This lack of variations can reduce the overall representativeness of the sample and make it difficult to capture the full diversity of the population. For example, if the initial participants are highly educated professionals, the sample might lack of representations from the individuals with a different educational background, limiting the range of perspectives included in the research area. So overall, we can see that about the snowball sampling. It is a valuable techniques for studying a population that are difficult to access through the traditional methods, particularly in cases where the trust and confidentiality are important. However, it is reliance on the participants, referrals, and social networking sites can introduce the significant biases and limitations in generalization. Researchers using this method must be aware of these challenges and consider them when they are going to interpret their results. While snowball sampling is a cost effective and efficient, it should be used with a caution, especially when the goal is to make the broad generalization about a population. So this is all about the snowball techniques. Thank you.